Hello, what's up everyone? Today I'm breaking down a tool that I've been using to level up my playlist strategy. It's called Playlist Supply. We're going to compare it to services like Submit Hub, Playlist Push, or even running ads in Meta. I'll show you exactly how to use it and how to save hours of your time every week. So let's get into it. So what is Playlist Supply and how is it different? Firstly, Playlist Supply isn't just a playlist submission site. It's a research tool that helps you find playlist curators across platforms, across niches, and gives you the contact information so you can reach out to them yourself. So if you compare something like that to Submit Hub or Playlist Push, where you are going directly to curators but you're paying a small amount, these are both great tools to use if you want someone else to manage the process. But Playlist Supply gives you the data so you can take control and build real relationships. And would you want to use this over Meta ads? Because Meta ads can get quite expensive and Meta ads aren't really for everybody. However, I do use Meta ads and I think you can use a combination of the two to really build up the following of a track. Playlist Supply helps you target curators who are in your niche and are there to build communities around your genre. And you really want to get in touch with these people. In addition, it does a lot of good analysis. Playlist Supply really shines in the analysis area because it's actually using real-time data from Spotify. It's not a dump or a load of data from Spotify every now and then. When you search through Playlist Supply, it is going into the database. So if any new playlists appear or new playlists go up in terms of stream numbers or follower numbers, or there's new information on the playlist, you'll get that real time. The analysis is really useful, so you can do things like spot fake playlists. It's like if a playlist has a weird follower to listener ratio, or it hasn't added new songs in months. You can also sort by things like follower count, genre keywords, platform, and more. So you're only reaching out to active and relevant curators. So let's actually go through the main tool. We can see here is you've got your credits available, and then you've got email, broad search, social media, similar artists, Instagram, and organic search. And we're going to go through what they all do in a second. Email is your most obvious one. So say, for example, you want to do a search for a playlist, house music, and maybe you want to do lo-fi house music. So you can search here and it will just bring up a list of lo-fi house music. In addition to that, it's actually mining the Spotify database real time. This is where a tool like this is really useful because it is really up-to-date information. You can see already that some playlists have started appearing. You'll see the number of followers for those playlists. You'll see the number of tracks on the playlist. Obviously, if you've got 433 tracks, that's quite a lot of tracks. So you'd want to be careful about a playlist that big. 30 is actually pretty low, but by clicking on email, you will get the email addresses. So you will get email addresses. It also gives you social media addresses. This is for Instagram. And I'm going to talk about Instagram in a second because this is where I think you get some real value, right? So what you can now do is you can copy all of this to clipboard, or you can copy to CSV or Excel or to PDF, or you can save it yourself. So you've got your own specialized playlist database, so you can save them and go back to the database without having to do the search ever again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on CSV. It's going to show you the 5 that were selected. All the information we saw before, we've got the social media, we've got the email addresses, we've got the description of the playlist and the timestamps. So what I'd advise artists to do with email is to use a automation system like Gmass to individually mass email and personalize emails for each curator, so they don't think you mass emailed them all in one email. So personalization is definitely the way to go here. So this isn't really the strength of Playlist Supply. Emailing people is kind of hit and miss. I've actually done this. I sent 50 emails before out and only one of them added me to a playlist. Now, I think 1 is better than 0. I think that's still a good result. And it really didn't take me very long. As you can see, this takes like literally nothing. Some of them did ask for money. And if they do ask you for money, that's against Spotify's terms and conditions. Do not pay money, right? Don't encourage it. So try not to do that. But what you can do is you can go and send a message in Instagram. I actually have had way more success in doing that. You take the social contact that you see here, plug that into Instagram, and then you write a very nice message. You say something like, listen, I found your playlist. I really like your playlist. Could you add me to your playlist? And if you do that, I will share your playlist to my socials. Now, if you've got a lot of followers, that will be kind of a good argument to, getting your song on the playlist, assuming they like the song. Or, for example, you want to trade, you may want to build a relationship with someone. It's much easier to do that in Instagram because you start following them and you start following their social media. And so building relationships is really the key thing about Playlist Supply. So we can do a broad search. We can do a search for social media. This is only going to bring back results for people who have Instagram social media contacts. Click on similar artists here. We can type in Lucky Luke and let's do a search for that. So similar artists will be for playlists that Lucky Luke features on. Now, if you sound like a specific artist and you want to be on playlists where that artist is a feature, this is the way to do it. And this is actually pretty powerful. You can see all of these Slap House playlists. Basically, Lucky Luke does Slap House music. Interestingly, my own playlist, it appears in here as well. So that's really cool. You can actually expand the view and you can see the description within each. And you can also see the URL and the timestamp. That is super cool. And you can see here, there's a lot of playlists. So we're going to take one of the bigger ones. So we're going to just sort by followers. This is the big one here. So we're going to take this one, just have a look through it, just see what you may want to find about the playlist. Are the songs correct? I'm not going to listen to the songs now. Are the songs in the genre that you think that they should be? And are they sounding kind of like where you want to be? Because in terms of the algorithm, you want to be in playlists that are similar to your song, right? We can go back to Playlist Supply as well. The other thing you can do here is you can actually select it, or you can select multiple. You can select, say, 3 of them. We can select Schedule Playlist Vet. So what's going to do in the background is going to assess the quality of the playlist for these 3 playlists here. So let's go ahead and do that. And by the way, this is all the time updating. It still hasn't finished searching. So you want to give it a bit of time to do the vetting. And then you can go into reports and you can see here, I've selected 4 playlists. You can see that they're still waiting. They're still processing. But I did one a bit earlier today. Let's have a look at that. And this was a deep house playlist. And what you want to look for here is activity. So high means it gets changed all the time, which is a good thing. And health. What you want to see is the number. So if it's 100 or close to 100, it means that the health of the playlist is strong. And what does that mean? That means that artists are getting discovered on it. So there's an AI algorithm within Playlist Supply that determines whether an artist fits on discovered on playlist. So if we say select any of these artists, this guy is obviously a big artist, and discovered on is what it looks at. So this artist has been discovered on these playlists. The health score is a percentage of how many artists on that playlist have that playlist in their discovered on section. So 43% means that 43% of the artists on that playlist have it in their discovered on section, which means that it's a really high quality playlist. Any playlist with a score above 0% is pretty decent. The higher the better, of course, depending on how many artists are on that playlist. So let's analyze these reports. So the first thing you'll see here is health. Anything over 0 basically is a decent health. I've got my own playlist in here. It's called Slap House Mix 2024, and that has a health of 24, which is not too bad at all. What we can do now is we can select all of them, save them to my playlist database, which has just been done like that. Go to the playlist database. So we go back to my playlist, which is 24%. Anything above 0 is good. However, you see a couple of them don't have any scores at all. So that's a bit of a red flag. It could be that they're 0% or they're just undefined. So one thing you do want to do is with these ones here, especially really high ones like this one here that's 71%, you want to check the follower history. So let's just do that for this. This is a huge playlist with 700,000 followers. Let's just check the follower history. So we've got what looks like relatively normal growth. It basically started at nothing, 2020. Then we see this huge incline. We're going literally from 100,000 to 200,000 followers very fast. And then we've got this really weird looking jump to over 1 million followers. And then a bit more stability here with actually, it might even be decreasing over time. So something like this would kind of worry me. So I wouldn't really want to invest in something like this. However, 71% is a very high score.
Let's take a look at the Spinning Records one, the follower history for that one. So this is kind of more of a normal look in terms of its growth. It is a relatively big playlist, but it is growing by the looks of it through ads and through perhaps some organic growth. You can see here it started very small around 2021, but they've definitely been putting ads into this, and you can see that it's organically growing where it's almost at 100,000 followers at 57%. That's actually a pretty decent score, which means you're likely to be discovered if you're on that playlist. So as an analytical tool and as a music discovery tool and as a contact tool, it does cost $19 a month, but the amount of time that you save doing the research on this tool and then the relationships that you build are worth a lot more than that, in my opinion. Doing this in combination with some Submit Hub, say pitching and some meta ads for your song, if you just budget all that together, you can really push your song and push it really well. And this tool also helps you find fake playlists. So if you guys have any questions about this at all, please feel free to write those in the comments and I will help you as much as I can. Bye.